Hello, good morning. Today is Saturday. It's a beautiful day. It's the first Saturday after Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone had a great times with their families. The reason that I'm making this video is I'm trying to share my story with everyone that will be watching it. Story that I learned a lot from, and I hope you guys don't go through it as much as I did. The story starts back in March of this year when I purchased a used car from a dealership, Napleton in Arlington Heights. I purchased a used car 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee from a dealer, and the salesperson, along with the finance manager, they asked me to purchase an extended warranty, just as a peace of mind. So I agreed for the cost of $2,400 for 2 years. Now, as soon as I drove off, about a couple of weeks later, I had a problem with the power steering, which I took it back to the mechanic. He contacted the warranty company, only paid a small portion to repair that, and there's the rest of the cost I absorbed. A few months later, I start having a check engine light going on and off. Periodically, it disappears and comes back on, and disappears again for a long time, it comes back on. That happened until about 2 months ago when I start having the engine light check light, goes on and stays on, and every morning when I start the car, it starts blinking and the alarm beeps, and the car has almost no power. I took the car to my dealer mechanic. He checked it out. He checked the engine, power, the check engine light, and he told me that you have a problem with the cylinders. Excuse me. And he replaced the spark plugs. It still didn't go away. So he said, the best thing for you is, since you have an extended warranty, you're covered by a warranty called Endurance Company. It's based in Northbrook, Illinois. He said, why don't you take it back to the dealership? They probably would help you, and have the warranty pay for it to repair that. I took the car to the mechanic at the dealership at Napleton, and he immediately charged me $140 just to diagnose the car and to tell me what's wrong with the car. Unfortunately, he said, we can't find nothing. You have to leave the car here, you know, for a few days so we can check it out in the morning and tell you exactly what the problem is. I agreed with him, and I left the car for about 2 or 3 days. And then he called me and he said, you have a problem with the car with two cylinders, 2 and 6. You have a low compression on cylinder 2 and 6. And could be, piston cylinder or something like that is wrong, leaking. So he said, we have to contact the warranty company to make sure that they can pay for it. I agreed with him, and he contacted the warranty company. They sent an inspector who took pictures and went back to the warranty company. And a few days later, they called the mechanic at the dealership. They told him that, ask the owner of the car that he has to allow the engine tear down so we can check the problem. The dealership called me and told me this is what the warranty company is saying, they're not going to pay it unless they tear the engine down. For me, I thought it was daring me that, you let them tear the engine down, it's going to cost us tons of money, especially if they don't pay, to put it back together. And it's just daring you to tell you that, we're not going to pay for it in a legal way, so you can back off. So, you know what, I'm scared. They're not going to, what about if they don't pay for it? And then I get stuck with an engine that's in pieces, you know. So I told the dealership that, the mechanic that, forget it. I'm not going to do it right now. I took the car and I drove off, and I talked to the warranty company, and the service person told me, yeah, we're not gonna pay for it unless we diagnose the car. We see what the problem is. You know, just when you go to the doctor, they have to check and see what's wrong with you before they prescribe you medication. You know, I told them this is what you guys telling me because you don't want to pay for it, and you just try to find ways and means not to pay for it, so make it legal. So I said, okay. So I went to a friend of mine, a mechanic. I told him the story, and he said, Joe, you know what? Trust me, I have this issue before. The warranty companies will not pay for it. They make you tear it down, and they're not going to pay for it. You know, you're going to get stuck with it. And I don't want you to get stuck with it. I can put a new engine in there, it's a lot cheaper for you. Oh, I said, you know what? Let me think about it. I drove away and thought about it. So I went back to him. I said, you know, Adam says you're going to replace the engine, might as well tear it down. Let's see how far these liars are going to go. So he did, and tear it down, and we called the warranty companies. They sent an inspector who took pictures. That was about 2 or 3 days later. Took pictures, went back, and then they called the mechanic a few days later. Told me, you know what, you have to tear down more. This is not, you know, the picture is not conclusive. You gotta see more stuff. So asked me, Joe, you want me to tear it down? I said, you know what, we're here, might as well. So he did tear down more to the piston level, to the rings and the pistons, and there was nothing else to tear down. So they, you know, he contacted them. They sent the first inspector who took pictures and went back, and then they sent the second inspector, took pictures and again and went back, and then days, a few days later, they contacted the mechanic saying, you know what, this is not covered. We don't cover this. The reason is that because the ring broke in the cylinder because of the excessive carbon buildup. You know, for me, it's bogus. It's just don't want to pay for it because they don't want to pay for it from the beginning. You just can find a reason not to pay for it. I showed my picture to the mechanic at the dealership, which if they're not biased, they told me, you know, we don't see any carbon buildup. All cars build up carbons. You gotta be kidding me. So to whoever I showed the pictures, to whoever I told my story, they always sympathize with me and they agree with me, except the warranty company, which is ripping off people. So the reason I'm sharing this story with you is not to have your sympathy, it's just to let you know that I have a plenty of sympathy, you know, honestly, and it cost me about $3,500 just to replace the engine, and almost $700 for a car rental during that time that my car was in the shop. Again, I'm sharing the story with you is if you're in the market for a used car, please take your chances with the used car, whatever it is, but do not take chances with the warranty companies, exclusively endurance. These companies do not pay for your repairs. They just want your money. They are a ripoff and a gimmick that take your money and they don't pay for your car. Take your chances with a used car if you are buying it. Make sure it's a good used car, but do not take chances with the warranty company because they were not going to pay for it. Please take a piece of advice from a guy who got stung with these rip-off artists. Thank you.